Edwards on the drive, goes inside the floor. Turn him over again. Booker scoops it up. Booker brings the boom.
Booker brings the boom. What's going on, everyone? AP over here, Rump Beer Sports. We got the NBA final countdown. I'm here with my guy, DC. No Mangone today. Mangone is bailing once again. We didn't see him yesterday, DC. We're not seeing him again today. He's traveling. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, he had 2 hard seltzers on Saturday night, so he couldn't make it to the Sunday morning show, and now he's traveling. So I'm sure he'll be back in our good graces sooner rather than later. I did, of course, take his money in our NFL head-to-head as I do every week, so maybe another reason not to show.
What you got to tell me? What was he playing? Because you're laughing about that.
He played. Okay, so I played Josh Allen in cash games, of course. Why would you play anyone other than Josh Allen yesterday? He went with Justin Herbert, who he seems to play every week in cash games. Never works out. He played Calvin Ridley over Brian Thomas, which, I mean, come on.
Isn't it like you had that slate and
he's got like I know, but I just play the guys I like and beat them every week. It's great.
Oh, you love to see it. And Mangone will be back next week. He'll be back next week. I won't be here. I'll be headed up to the New York area to go investigate all of these drones. I mean, wasn't that show funny yesterday? We spent how much time talking? Like JTA was on the show, so he has the inside.
It was a premium show, so a lot of people watching now probably didn't see it. But JT Hayes, who he's let's just say he's got some sources, some pretty good sources, I would say. He seems pretty alarmed about the drone situation. So I honestly hadn't thought too much about it, and haven't. Yesterday was football day, so I didn't really. It's too busy tilting Amari Cooper to do my drone research, but I'm intrigued now, AP. It sounds like you are the same way.
I am too. Yeah, I am too. And he said he wouldn't travel into that area, but we're doing. I think I'll be fine. I'm pretty
right.
Sure
JT Hayes is never wrong. That's just always assume he's right. You'll be in good shape.
Oh wow, look at that. We already got news coming in. Zach LaVine ruled out. Let's dive in. We're gonna go game by game. I have SaberSim up here. And we're sorted by value, and you'll see ownership, RPS projection, my projection, SaberSim projection. I may have to adjust some of this stuff on the fly so that I can get my stuff in as well. And hopefully, collectively, DC and maybe chat will bring up some good nuggets that we can take, and we'll find the winners together. We'll celebrate, etc. So let's dive in. Let's go Miami Heat, Detroit Pistons. Notable news here, Tobias Harris is out. And part of the other reason why Mangone is not on the show, Tobias Harris is not playing tonight. One of his favorite players that is often, his play of the day. So that will make this rotation somewhat interesting. This is also why Fontecchio is popping. I bumped him down. Even with bumping him down, I got a lot of them. I think Malik Beasley is going to be the guy that they just has a huge role off the bench. Break this game down for me, DC.
Yeah, you bumped him down. So you bumped him down from SaberSim's projection. So that's the red. The people, that's the red number. That's why it's red, just because you moved it. You can see, you didn't bump him down to the RPS projection, though, right? Well, we got him at 15.4. I'm going lower than RPS on Fontecchio today.
He's gonna get run though. Like they don't have any dudes. Like they have to have like one of the tightest rotations out there. You would think at least.
I don't think it's gonna be that tight, and I don't think his minutes are guaranteed here. He's a really, really low point per minute player, and that's with most of his minutes off the bench, not playing with guys like Cade Cunningham all that much, and that's and I don't think the minutes are secure. So. I just don't see it with Fontecchio. I get why he's a value, right? Like I do understand, but for a chalky player, I mean, that's the flagship number almost to the far right is what Saber projects his ownership as being, right?
Yes.
30% on Fontecchio
Right here.
There.
Yeah.
It's the same number. Yeah. 30% on Fontecchio to me seems like pretty bad chalk, honestly. So he's going to be a no for me. Just he's not getting in my lineups tonight. Beyond that, the LaVine news to me, AP, and I see people talking about it in chat. Yeah, LaVine out. That really opens up this slate. I don't know where you're at in terms of what you think your builds are going to look like, but I like that Toronto-Chicago game a lot. So kind of a lot of my takes.
I love that game.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it now. I think it's going to be nuts.
I mean, spoiler alert, I guess, but I'm stacking that game. There's just no way I'm coming off that. So, when we're talking about these players, again, playing my 3 lineups, like I always do, not going to be much from this game or any other game besides that one that makes it onto much of my lineups. But I don't know. I mean, who are you playing from this game?
Yeah, so, and obviously I want to rerun this. I think this is a great spot for Detroit to bounce back. They had that game against Boston where Boston just took it to them. Watching that game, like Detroit was making the dumbest mistakes. It was almost like that game was like, game 7 of some crazy like playoff series. I think it's a great bounce back spot. Miami's been awesome of late. But as long as Cade Cunningham is in, I always like backing this Detroit Pistons team. I think it comes down to Cade. So I think he's the guy in tournaments that I would be interested in. And look, like when you start to run, so like I am like if you ran this at Sabres projection, you're going to get no Cade. And so I wanted him in there in some of my lineups. I think guard, especially point guard, is loaded. And even at this big projection, I'm not getting a lot of Cade Cunningham. I just want it to be over in relation to the field, this projected field. I think it could be lower. I think his ownership could be lower. I think I'm right around 15 to 16%.
How many total lineups are you playing? Just curious.
Well, I'm doing my entry deal. So 216 lineups in there. Doing the autofill. Having fun with it. Because we have like 19 slates tonight. We have NFL 2-game slate. We have the showdown slate.
So you got
NBA.
216 different teams across these contests?
Yeah, some of them get overlapped. Some of them get duped. I just let SaberSim determine which lineups go where. And I use the autofill sorted by unique rank to do that. You're laughing. It's having a blast. I made some good money. I've made money every time I've done this. So I'm trusting the process.
I'm having a good streak too, but I'm laughing because my process, I've like scaled it back where I'm like individually only, just like building on.
So
hand building.
It's on certain slates. I'm gobbling up like every contest, $27 or under, and just max hammering those right now. Not going to always do that, but I've had success in the short term with it.
Are you running the late swap optimizer post?
So when I'm able to, yeah. We haven't had like last week. We didn't really have much basketball, so I couldn't do it. And then the other problem with me is kids' activities. So like tonight, my boy is swimming, 30 minutes on the other side of town. And so I have to set it, pray, and forget it, and hope that nothing crazy happens.
You got to take the last step, man. You got to get in there on the swap optimizer.
Malik Beasley was the other guy that I had a lot of interest in. Let's go to Philly, Charlotte. Break this game down real quick. LaMelo Ball is in. Have to figure coming off the calf strain, he is going to be on a minutes limit. We have then Joel Embiid obviously out like he always is. Caleb Martin out. Tyrese Maxey and Paul George going to have to carry the load on the Philly side. Break this game down for me, DC.
Yeah, I think George, like you said, George and Maxey. I don't think I would play. I don't really want them on the same team, to be honest. I think one or the other makes a lot of sense for me. They're not two of my, favorite values or anything like that on the slate, but they are two guys who can pop off for big numbers. Relatively looks like reasonable ownership, kind of in the teens for both of them. So yeah, like in your, I'm not playing these guys in your scenario, AP, for sure. I think I would be close to at or over the field on both George and Maxey, but nothing crazy. Curious where you.
What are you doing with Drummond? I agree with you. I think Maxey is very interesting. Paul George had a lot of success the last time he faced the Hornets, which was 2-3 weeks ago. And Yabusele, you got to think Yabusele has a nice role here. Drummond is the guy that when's the last time we saw, like, I know Drummond, like, let me compare him. So Saber is, so I'm kind of right in line with where we're at and where Saber's at, but he's not really, there's so many good centers on this slate, and we haven't seen a ceiling performance from Drummond in quite some time.
I haven't played him like all year long, and I'm not going to start here. He's getting kind of old, you know? Like, it used to be he was like such a physical force that he would just like get every rebound and bully people into submission, but he doesn't really seem to do that. Like the huge, you know what I mean? Where you get, I don't know.
And I like Bridges too. He played 20-some minutes last game.
I like Bridges a little bit.
You do like him a little bit? I was torn on what to do with him. Our boy Bobby Hare likes him quite a bit, so I added him back to my pool. Or I bumped him up, but it doesn't look like I'm getting a lot of them. So, because he's not highlighted here. You can see my pool.
Yeah, he went 0 for 6 from 3 in his return. I did watch that game. Played 25 minutes, but he looked like he could have played more. I think it's been 2 days off. I think he'll get 30 plus minutes in this game.
Yeah. Let's you're gonna play LaMelo?
No.
Okay.
But if there's one player who like could just nuke in 29 minutes, like it would be LaMelo Ball. Like he knows he's on a minutes limit, so he starts chucking it even earlier. You know what I mean? Like he's like he can be a point per minute monster. So what's LaMelo's ownership? I was curious as to what.
I mean,
is it
like 0.31?
Okay, I think he's a good play at 1% owned. I mean, I'm not going to play him on one of my 3, but I would.
My only counter argument would be the pace that these two teams play at is so slow, like so slow. And LaMelo could be the guy, though, that gets it done. And, like, if he's feeling good, there's always that opportunity of him just, like, them letting him run.
It's unlikely, but it's way higher than 1% that he nukes. I mean, it has to be. So, yeah, and then Miller, like, I think he's just a little bit too pricey now with Bridges and LaMelo coming back. So I'm off Miller. I've been a fan, but I don't think now is the time to play him.
The other problem with LaMelo, he's 10K.
Yeah, I know. But,
yeah,
I mean, the question is how often does he go for 55 plus? And I think it's like, I don't know, 5% of the time. So
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's go to this game. Then we'll get to the game that I think is really juicy, and we both do. But we have the Cavs against the Nets. Notable here is, the Nets, they lost Dennis Schroeder. He got traded. Where'd he get traded? Oh, I should know this.
Golden State Warriors.
Golden State. Yeah, Golden State. And then I don't know how this game stays close, to be honest. Like, the Cavs are just going to – like, the problem with the Cavs right now in trying to play someone like Donovan Mitchell is – and I wrote it in the playbook today. He has, like, 2 40-point-plus DK games, or maybe it's 50 over his last, 12. Like, there's no ceiling there right now. And it's just because they're destroying teams. So they're healthy. The Nets are not healthy. I have a little, I don't have a lot of this game, to be honest. I know these guys are highlighted, and so they're in my pool, but I promise you, I don't think I have a lot of Ben Simmons. I don't want a lot of Ben Simmons tonight unless you talk me into playing him. If he was a little cheaper, I'd be interested. But, man, I think the Nets get destroyed. Like, honestly, I would have more interest in, Shake Milton. But he's 4,700. Like, he should be, 4,200 or 4,100 or in the 3Ks. But what are you doing with this game?
While you were talking, what I was specifically doing was looking up, Shake Milton's kind of what his role. I mean, Milton's the guy who I think could potentially, especially maybe even in a blowout, come off, run the point. He's like a scoring – a lead guard, which is what they lost. They traded away their lead guard, right? They're kind of do it all, Dennis Schroeder. And I think Milton is the guy who is most likely to step into that Schroeder role long term. Would you agree with that? I mean,
yeah.
So if that's the case, I don't know. I mean, he's playing like 15 to 20 minutes. You take the point guard out of there.
It's an interesting play. I'll say that.
Could he potentially start? Could he start? Is it possibly start Shake Milton?
It's a good point. That is a really good point, actually. We don't have the starting lineup.
Thanks, AP.
Yeah, but I'm like, I mean, I think it's Keon Johnson, but Keon Johnson's been terrible ever since like I played him that one slate. He's been terrible.
So I mean, just in their last game, Keon Johnson had 2 drives. Shake Milton had 7. In that last game, again, only 16 minutes for Milton, but he'd have 6 potential assists in that game. Keon Johnson had 2. So the ball is in Milton's clearly the more aggressive player between the two. Yeah, he's 4,700, but
it's a tough play. It's a like 150 max type play because
I'm putting Milton in one tonight, AP, in one of my teams.
Because I think I'm going to sell you on a guard play in the next game. And you might already be on him. We already talked about his brother. But
if it's from Chicago and Toronto,
that fully gives it away. But Lonzo Ball.
Oh man, this could be interesting. I mean, I wasn't on Lonzo.
I mean, I think he's approved up to over 20 minutes. I think he could play 22, 23. He's been good, man. Like when he's out there, it's crazy. Let's move on to that game.
Your little lunch money. You want to do Lonzo versus Shake Milton tonight?
Yeah, we could do that.
Right.
I mean, I kind of like both guys, but yeah, let's do Lonzo versus. I still need to earn that $10 back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get on to the good game, which is the Bulls against Toronto. Toronto, we get point RJ Barrett. Obviously, Toronto has been shaking up their starting lineup quite a bit with the injuries they're dealing with. And what we do know, though, is RJ Barrett running point. But obviously, the sites have him as a small forward, power forward, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. I want to be very aggressive on him. And then now we get Zach LaVine out and Dallin Terry out. So we should have a tighter rotation. The Bulls, they're going to run no matter what. We've seen it all year long. It's going to create a really nice fantasy environment. And I think Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, on the surface, from a starter standpoint, become all really strong plays, especially Josh Giddey. Giddey's been playing a lot better. He's shown a ton of upside. And we've seen point guards against the Raptors do extremely well for a long-term sample. And I also think Lonzo Ball very much in play off the bench. He's 4K. Just look at what he's doing in the limited minutes that he's playing. Again, it's a tournament type of play. That's how I have it graded on the heat map. He's highly productive when he's in there. I think he could get up to 22 minutes, maybe even like 24. And he's put up like a 30-piece in 19 minutes. So I think Lonzo Ball is a really interesting tournament play outside of these other, like a Fontecchio and et cetera. So DC, I love this game. I want a lot of it. What are you doing? And I need to rerun my numbers, obviously. But what are you doing with this game?
100% stacking the hell out of this game. There's just, in my opinion, no real other way to play this slate. I think it's by far the best way to play this NBA slate. I mean, RJ Barrett, like one thing I'm having success more recently just on any slate, any sport, is trying to take a stand on the thing that I really believe in. You know, the player that I really want. And to me, that player tonight is RJ Barrett and his teammates. You put a small forward into this role. He's the point guard. I mean, he had 16 potential assists. He's getting like close to a triple-double, right? He can rebound. He's getting out and running. And this is a perfect game, right, for him, AP. I mean, we don't probably need to tell a lot of you guys that, but the Bulls, the back and forth, the transition opportunities is perfect for someone like RJ Barrett anyway, especially, though, when you put him in the point guard role. I mean, it's just the nutted spot. Doesn't necessarily obviously mean it'll work 100% of the time. No, but I just think you just play the RJ Barrett here. I really like Grady Dick alongside him. I think they need more scoring. They just don't have much of it. I think Grady Dick, I love these kind of 3-point wing shooters against Chicago, right? Where the game gets going, they get open for 3. We were joking on Twitter. Sometimes NBA DFS can sometimes seem like a 3-point shooting contest. But I want my lineups to look like that, AP, right? I want the guys who are going to be bombing away from 3 and you hope to run hot. and get the 35 or 40 from Grady Dick, who's what, 5,900 on DK. Love him. Jakob Poeltl. If Barrett plays well, if Dick plays well, I think we'll see Poeltl in there for a lot of minutes too. So I like him. And then the Chicago side with LaVine out now, I like all four of the guards. I think the harder part is ranking them.
Yeah.
I got Giddey 1. I'll go Giddey 1, White 2, DeSumo 3, and Lonzo Ball 4. But that's not a slight on Lonzo Ball. I want to join you on the Lonzo Ball train. I'm not sure I'll get him on one of my 3 teams, but I like the call. I think you can play up to 2 of these Bulls guards on the same lineup, and maybe 3 if one of them is Lonzo. And I think this game has all the potential. Most of my lineups are probably going to be either 6 or 7 players from this game, and then just someone else from another game.
I think that works really well on the slate because Toronto, if we use like NFL terminology, like the target tree with Toronto is just clearly defined. It's RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl. I mean, those 2 guys should absolutely dominate and feast here. I love the Grady Dick call as well. He's raw scoring dependent. But dude, the guy shot what, 20 plus field goal attempts in that last game. Like, he's gonna chuck with Scotty Barnes out. Like, Scotty Barnes being out just opens up so much. So
can't be overstated how much him being out of the lineup and quickly, right? So I know he's been out for a while, but it's RJ Barrett's team right now, and it's a perfect matchup. So,
and he's been playing well. He's been really, really good.
How much Barrett you got? Ooh, 52. I like that projection.
Yeah, so I honestly had about 51% of them, and I honestly wanted more. I had to get really aggressive with this projection to do that. So if I could land, where's he going to be? 20. So yeah, I want to be like 55 to 65% RJ Barrett. I think he's that good of a play. That might be a little aggressive, but it's kind of on. So all right, my core top plays, if you look at the heat map, I have RJ Barrett as 1. My goal is between 45 and 65%. So that's kind of where I want him at. And honestly, you could argue that Ayo, Kobe, and Josh Giddey, we got to bump them up as well, especially Ayo DeSumo. I think Ayo is the guy that gets like kind of lost in the mix, and his role is going to be really elite. And I think the 6,200 price tag keeps ownership somewhat capped. I don't know if you would agree with that or not.
I do agree. And I think I was looking at Giddey and DeSumo anyway. Even if LaVine played, I thought they were decent plays. And with LaVine out, I mean, seems like smash plays to me. Yeah.
Let's go to this next game, which I think is going to be another awesome game. And the Nuggets play no defense, and the Kings with Monk as a starter. It's been an over that I've been targeting. I posted it early this morning thinking we'd get a little bit of a line movement. I should have waited. Kevin Huerter got ruled out, and which is a huge blow to that total, and is something I don't like to see. Do I think it can still hit? Yes, I do. But you get Keon Ellis instead of Kevin Huerter. Keon Ellis is a defensive guy. Kevin Huerter plays no defense and shoots threes. So that's a huge hit to that over bet. But I still think it's going to be a great environment. And we also have Keegan Murray landed on the injury report. What are you doing with the Nuggets against Kings?
Yeah, the Keegan Murray news is big, right? This is a team that has a pretty tight rotation, but also at the same time, they're a kind of a too many mouths to feed team, right? Between Fox, Monk, Sabonis, obviously DeRozan, and then Keegan Murray's a shooter too. So Huerter, a guy who shoots a lot, you take Huerter out, and if you take Keegan Murray out, then I think the Kings become really interesting. DeRozan is someone I haven't played all year, but I think he's a reasonable play tonight. Malik Monk, a guy I've been playing. I want to stay high on Malik Monk. So yeah, this is the other game, AP, that I think is pretty tasty. This one, and obviously the Bulls, Raptors are the two that I'm personally really looking at. I'm guessing you're the same way based on the green on all the projections there.
Yeah, I am with you 100%. I think the way I'm getting different, though, is historic. And I love Jokic. I think he's the best player in the NBA right now. And it's probably not close. Dude is just phenomenal. But he struggled historically in this matchup against Sabonis. Like, the numbers are – Sabonis has played really well.
He's playing his twin. That's tough.
I know. You're playing your twin. But what you've seen Aaron Gordon have big games. You've seen Jamal Murray against Fox have big games.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen Michael Porter Jr. hitting shots, against this Kings team. So how I'm playing it is my stand is being under, fading Jokic, being over on Sabonis. Malik Monk's like my favorite play in this game. And then I think Aaron Gordon. So when I first looked at it, I thought they were being cautious with him, but they're in some blowouts. I think I think we see 30 plus in a tight game.
He was
5,500 is. Go ahead.
He was smashing last game in the beginning, and then they blew out the Clippers, right? So he didn't play. Yeah, he didn't play the last 15 minutes of that game. So I'm not too worried about the minutes with Aaron Gordon. I'm with you. I think he's a fun player.
Yeah, and a couple things. Let's see. We had one good question. All right. When do you use single game versus the other? So I had to run this early because we have the show and everything. I just, like to be prepared for all of that. And I guess in my opinion, this could be completely wrong. I got to talk to the Sabre team on this, but if you're running the Sims, a lot of the simulations, when you run it and you press that little ball, it's going to be based on ownership projections and many different things. And that obviously an hour and a half, 2 hours before lock is not going to be accurate, not going to be correct. So I typically start this off using that single lineup, ranking it by single entry or single game. And then as we get closer to lock, I'll move it and I'll actually run the actual simulation. So that's typically how I do it. But and that's how I've done it right now. The other way too is if I really like my reads and my projections, I will sometimes sort it by highest projected or the single. I think it's called single. What do they call it? Yeah, single game versus the Sabre versus the contest sims. So it just depends. I don't have a right or that process. I'm still kind of ironing out. But let's go to the final game tonight, and then I'm going to rerun this DC. We got the Jazz at the Clippers. Jazz are pretty much fully healthy. Yeah, both Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton are in, which I think it makes the game more competitive and interesting. It should stay closer. And I think the fact that the Jazz are healthier, I think makes Harden that much better of a play. The other smash spot for point guards is against the Jazz. They just give up so many assists, so many peripheral stats, and the raw scoring to traditional point guards. It just is one of those spots where Harden could absolutely go off. And then the guy that soaks up a lot of run in the second unit, Kevin Porter Jr., could also go off, as well as Norman Powell, who should have a really big role here. But what are you doing with this game, this final game tonight?
Yeah, I think the Clippers roll this one. I think all these guys, Porter, Powell, Zubac, Harden, I think they all have strong games. I don't really want to play multiple of these guys in the same lineup, right? I don't think they're like super great values, but yeah, for my builds personally, right? I mean, I'm paying for RJ Barrett. We both are. Kind of hard to get to Harden. I'm guessing you're having a similar run out with your
I'd bump him up.
Yeah.
You see that projection, like 52?
Yeah, I think that's totally legit. Porter, I think, is the guy, given our builds, that makes the most sense, right? Because we're kind of spending a little bit on that Chicago-Toronto game. Maybe this game blows out. Maybe it's Kevin Porter who just nukes in the fourth quarter while everybody else kind of fades, right? You could see a scenario chasing someone down in a GPP with Porter in the fourth quarter of this game. So he's the one that I think is most interesting if you are on the types of builds that we're on.
Yeah, I agree. Porter in the fourth quarter. I like that.
Yeah.
I wrote an interesting stat. I think in his last 3 or 4 starts, he's put up 30 plus fantasy points. Now I don't have that number right in front of me, just going off memory. He's been good. Now some of those games are blowouts. one of the games, Harden was out, obviously, so Kevin Porter Jr. got the start. The other guy, too, that when I first looked at everything, like I saw Saberson had a pretty big and bold projection on Bones Highland. And if you look at it, Bones' last 3 games, he's gotten quite a bit of run. But you have a couple blowouts and you have Harden. So, like, I don't think, like, with Harden back in, Norman Powell back in the full go.
I don't think he's even going to play in this game.
Yeah, so I was really thrown off by the Bones Highland like projection for us and SaberSim. So, like, I basically should just remove him from the pool. I got him in there. Yeah. Any other final thoughts on this game? I'm going to rerun this. Or rerun my builds as well. So talk to me, DC. What's walk me through a few of your like primary plays on the slate. Like, what are your builds going to look like? I think I have a good idea of what they're going to look like, but
yeah, that's kind of what these shows. I'm just kind of saying exactly what I'm playing my 3 lineups. All 3 lineups are a Raptors and Bulls stack. I have at least 6 Raptors and Bulls in all 3 of my lineups. I just think, obviously, with the news on the Raptors side, with Scotty Barnes being out in particular, just sets up perfectly for this Raptors team. You know, or I think I know at least where the production is going to come from. It's going to be Barrett, Pirtle, and I think Grady Dick. The other guy, we can talk about this now. We didn't talk about Mogbo. Any thoughts on him? I think he's
so he's going to be kind of the chalk. I think so. Like, here, my honest take on Mogbo. So KJ Martin is starting. We're going to have to work through a couple of these situations, but Mogbo, look, he's too cheap. He's 4,400. He's going to get good run. Is there bust potential? I do think so. They're still working through this rotation, and what I've seen with the Raptors is you have Davion Mitchell, who's going to get run off the bench, Jacoby Walter, who's been playing really well, and like he played 25 minutes. Like, he's going to get 20-plus minutes. Boucher has been out of the rotation. But, dude, the Raptors do weird stuff all the time. Kelly Olynyk is back, but he's still on a minutes cap. So, like, am I over on like Mogbo is projected the best value, right? Like, he definitely is. Is there bust potential? I think there is. Am I still playing him? Yes, I am. So that's kind of when I was looking at FanDuel pricing.
I think they like Mogbo, right? The Raptors. I mean, he's like a fairly promising young player, it looks like to me. So I do think he's going to get his minutes. And I would assume AP, you can tell me if you disagree, he is also a type of player who should benefit more than most from an up and down, right? He's kind of mostly an athlete. So I could see him getting out in transition, maybe getting involved defensively. I like Mogbo a little bit. He's my question right now. I'm playing my core.
We got to come off on Yabusele. Well, I kind of like that. He hasn't been good at all. KJ Martin starting. What do you want to do with KJ Martin? Not like the best per minute producer, but he's starting and he's somewhat cheap.
I'd rather play Mogbo over KJ Martin.
I agree with that.
And because he's starting, I bet Martin gets
some ownership.
I bet he does. Yeah.
See when I reran this. Yeah, I'm still getting a lot of Mogbo.
Yeah, questions coming in the chat. We'll address these as we go along for sure. So keep putting them in. Yabusele off the bench. I think that takes Yabusele himself pretty much out of play. Martin becomes, like we said, I think an okay play. You know, as to me, he would be more of a last guy in. Does it do anything for Drummond? I don't really think so. Any thoughts?
Let me see how much. Let's go back through this. So I am getting a little Drummond. How much? I'm getting 10% in my entire pool. I don't know. What do you think?
That's fine with me. I wouldn't force it more than that.
Oh, I hate Drummond, but there's so many. I'm gonna just bump them down slightly. I don't know. it's hard to get excited about Philly, except for like Tyrese Maxey and Paul George are the two guys that I think like they would be the two that I would have interest in. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that. I'm 100% with you on that. A couple people asked, it was Matthew here first. Horton Tucker, who I do think is pretty interesting. I was looking at him myself with the LaVine news. His minutes are very much, I would say, volatile, but with upside. I do think he will get a chance, and he does have games where he just finds something and gets going, can get to the basket, can score, can create. You might need like foul trouble or injury to one of White, Giddey, Dosunmu, or Lonzo. Those are the guys I think he's competing with minutes for. But we've seen the Bulls be volatile with their minutes in general and kind of go with who's playing well. And I do think Horton Tucker, what is he,
3,500. Yeah, I got to rerun this again because I had him out.
He's a good play. I think he's a pretty good play. I think I'm going to try to get him on one of my 3 as well.
What do you have him projected wise? Like I'm over Saberson. They probably have to adjust. And I'm slightly over us. Like I think this is the right range. And I don't know if I'm going to get a lot of them.
So yeah,
I think Baselis is a really good play too. He's been awesome. He's been in the rotation even when these guys are healthy, and he's been playing pretty good.
He looks good out there, I think.
So for me, it's like I don't mind not having any THT. Let me look at this. I mean, it is if the game gets out of hand, it is. You could see like THT just like cooking.
Both these teams, I mean, Toronto is playing like I know Mogbo is like not a guard, but they're going to run with the Bulls, I think. So I think the Bulls are going to say, all right, the Bulls style is to run anyway. And I don't know. I just think all these dudes, this game, I mean, obviously we're hoping this game is the nuts AP. Can these guys please just make their shots tonight? Can we not get
I know.
I feel like I've had some good teams that just couldn't make shots. It's like, all right.
All right? So this is a good question. Jared Allen revenge game. Is Jared Allen like that vengeful of a guy?
He seems very chill. I don't think he's got much vengeance on his
the games he goes off though. Like, and you don't see it very often, but I mean I could pull it up right now. I bet he has at least 250 pieces this year.
Yeah, I mean,
but then he also could get you like 30 or 28.
There's no way you're playing Jared Allen.
No, I don't think he was at anything. But he's not going to land in anything. I think I was over on him too. Just I think I gave him a little bump. 4% of my pool.
I got to get my core place in. I forgot.
Right now. Let me adjust this. Now we have him back in the pool. I'm just going to go with the single game sort, right, wrong, or indifferent. Who knows? I just know it reflects my change in projections a little bit more, and not as much as like sorting by highest projected score. It's kind of an in between the Sims and projected score, which I kind of like. What were we looking at? Oh yeah. Talon Horton Tucker. So yeah, now he's in my pool. I'm fine with that. Obviously, all of these guys are in my pool. Absolutely love that. Probably need to bump them up a little bit. Let's go back to the value. All right. Any other questions that you're seeing, DC?
No, I'm just finalizing my
I'm going to go through some of these questions, and then when I finalize my stuff, I'll hand it off to you. So Horton Tucker, we answered that. We like him. Oubre, I don't know. Oubre is kind of like a filler piece. I would rather play Grady Dick, who's basically the same price. And if you can get up to Kobe White or Ayo Dosunmu, I would play them. Or if you could get all the way up to a Malik Monk, I would play all of those guys over Kelly Oubre. I feel very good about that. Miles Bridges or Aaron Gordon. I like Aaron Gordon. I think that game stays competitive. It's kind of a pivot off of the Jokic build. Again, if you're playing Jokic, I think Jokic. I'm not like I never want to talk anyone off of Jokic. This matchup against Sabonis historically hasn't been as good for him, and you've seen other players pop Jamal Murray's had good games against them. Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon. So I like Aaron Gordon. Karis LeVert, I think he was kind of interesting. We kind of glazed over him a little bit. I think he's in my pool. We'll look at that. Horton or Clowney, those are kind of those just, I'd probably go the THT route. But again, I think Bacelis is more interesting. I think Jaime Jaquez potentially a little bit more interesting as well, with no Jovic and how thin they are. 3 Raptors is definitely okay. We like the Raptors as long as 2 of the Raptors are, RJ Barrett. Yeah, 3 Raptors is definitely fine. RJ Barrett, Mogbo, Pirtle, and Grady Dick's the other guy that we liked. Grady Dick, raw scoring dependent, so more so in tournaments. Drew Smith. Yeah, Drew Smith's been really good. He's a staple now in this Miami rotation. He's getting between 22, 25 minutes. He's 3,800. I still, in case we get more crazy news, all right, so if I could get up to Lonzo Ball, I would play him over Drew Smith just because I feel like we're going to get better per minute production. But the minutes are obviously more of a risk. I would also play Kevin Porter Jr. if you could find the 600 in additional salary over Drew Smith. I think those guys have a little bit more upside. Drummond or Aaron Gordon, I would go Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hold on one second. Who was starting for Detroit? Eamon. Yeah. Oscar Thompson.
I'll be back.
Yeah, you're good. Is 6 Bulls too much? Yes, I think 6 Bulls is too much. I would not go the 6 Bull route. Bam is fine. I honestly, in my first build, I did not get as much Bam Adebayo. I think the reason for that is I was higher on Jakob Poeltl. I was very high on Domantas Sabonis, and I like Vika Zubac over Bam. But I still have Bam graded as a really good tournament play tonight. So if you have a read on Bam, and I think I like him even more on FanDuel. So the Bulls, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, THJ, who I never play, Oscar Thompson, which I do think is a little more interesting. I still think what the Bulls do, you could still see some funky rotation stuff. So Oscar Thompson, they've been pretty conservative with his minutes. He's played 20 just once. Outside of that, they've been holding him to 11 to 16 minutes. So I don't think he's going to get normal starter minutes, but he is 3,900. Honestly, it just makes me like Cade Cunningham and even Jaden Ivey a little bit more, and Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley, 4,600. I think he's one of the best value plays on the slate. He just has to play 30-plus minutes. I don't think that they can force some of these other guys those type of minutes. I just think they're bringing Beasley off the bench to so that you have another guy who can handle the rock when Cade's sitting, when Jaden Ivey's sitting, etc. to keep the offense flowing. So, what's up, DC?
I'm just looking at Shake Milton.
You're playing. All right, you're playing Shake Milton.
I want to, but
let me know if you. All right, so I'm gonna adjust my stuff too on the fly here. If you see any questions though, could you read them out?
Yeah.
Actually, I can move this over.
I think my lineups are finalized.
Beasley did crush Miami earlier, so I think Beasley's an awesome play.
But Beasley, when he gets hot too, he just starts pouring in threes. It can get ridiculous. I like that Beasley call. I like, especially playing Beasley over. He's good leverage off of Fontecchio, right? Who we know or we think is going to be popular. One way Fontecchio fails, for sure, is Beasley takes his minutes. And no question in my mind, at least, who's the more effective player. I think it's Michael Beasley by a long shot. So all right, let's work through this now. All right, DC, what do you think? 80% RJ Barrett. Maybe a little much. The other reason I like to sort it by single game is I can make these adjustments, and instead of putting caps on the ownership, it'll just naturally adjust down. So I'll show an example of that. There you go.
I think 67% is perfect. That's like what I want.
Yeah. You're asking the wrong guy if you want me to say that it's too much on your favorite play of the slate. Yeah, I mean, here's what I think, AP. I think we have a moment for a little just DFS discussion.
Let's do it.
Like, okay, so yesterday I played 100% Josh Allen on 150, more than 150 teams. I don't know, 180 teams. And had a good day, but still got nowhere close to the winner. Obviously, Amari Cooper having pretty much got DMP, killed a lot of teams. My point of all of it is it's not like you're guaranteed to win, even if you take the giant stand on one play, right? Even if you played 100% RJ Barrett, it's not like you're guaranteed to ship the slate. So to me, that means that there's way more Barrett combinations that you can't even cover, even if you play 100%. So why not take the big stand on your whoever you think is the best play of the slate? Because you can't get close to covering everything anyway. So to me, just from obviously you have to be responsible with the bankroll, right, to do that, because you can easily get just totally swept. But that's not a problem if you're, so it just makes sense to me. I know that's not how most people play, but.
And that's, again, how I like to. So it's similar, like in NBA too. I usually like to have a group of three that I have in that 55 to 65% range. Like, so right now for me, it's Malik Beasley. Oh, Malik Beasley got a huge bump. Might be a little much, but again, like you're doing this up to lock. I'm okay with taking some big stands like that as long as it makes sense.
I need a Beasley share, by the way. Oh, good. I have.
That's a little much, but honestly, it's all about like what it frees up too. But like as long as I have a core in here of guys that I know I'm very overweight on. I mean, they're feeding me Fontecchio too. It's like insane. I wonder if I do this. Maybe I just got to bump that because I do not want a ton of Fontecchio.
Beasley's a way better play. I had,
but no, to answer your question, that's exactly how I play too. I like to take some stands.
Yeah.
I did like Josh Allen yesterday. Did you go 100%?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked both quarterbacks in that game.
I had 78% of Amari Cooper, so didn't win too much. Do you see he didn't even play a snap for the fourth quarter? God, that's fucking bullshit.
I mean, I was watching the game closely, and I just did not see him out there.
He wasn't out there. He's just chilling.
So one guy, I really like Malik Monk, but we're kind of in that phase where we're just like forcing him in. But I think he's such a good play. But I mean, I don't know. You look at this, and I think it's fine. So, like, who's the stand that you would make tonight? If you were to go all in on one play, who would it be?
Barrett. Barrett's the best play on the slate, I think.
Okay, yeah, and that's the guy I have.
He's today's Josh Allen, right? He's just like guaranteed to smash. It seems like so. Yeah.
I mean, outside of injury, what do you think is his floors?
Like 45.
Yeah, like even bad. You've seen bad shooting games where he's put up like 45 in this role specifically. Like
I think you go
60 plus,
like
right?
65 or something tonight. Wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let me just comb these over. Any other questions in chat as we do this on the fly?
Yeah.
Any NFL takes tonight?
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep an eye on this. I think, the other thing about this too is I have a lot more volume in NFL tonight and still playing a good amount in NBA. But for me, doing it this way, I'm more focused on my overall exposures. So like I look at it as like a portfolio. And as long as it checks the boxes in my mind of the players that I want to be over on, then I'm good with it. And I let Saber determine what lineup should go where. I know, kind of different than how you're playing DC, but
yeah,
I think it's fun.
It's fun to have both perspectives. There's more than one way to win a DFS, that's for sure. Football tonight, I think we're going to see Cousins with a big bounce back game here. I think he was in just the worst spots these last 3 weeks. You remember, I mean, you were on him last week against going into Minnesota, and I did not like that spot for him at all. Vegas has like the worst cover corners in the league. So we're going to see his receivers are going to be open, London and Mooney. And then they lost Max Crosby. They're like their biggest threat on the pass rush. So he should have time to throw. If you give Cousins time to throw in a dome with bad coverage,
I like that.
He's going to shred. He's done it his whole career. And he's the same dude. He's just had really tough matchups. So Cousins is actually my favorite play on the slate.
I like that. And yeah, he had some good throws, but he made some terrible mistakes. This is a matchup where
these guys are going to be wide open.
Yeah.
You can put the ball on the money when they're wide open.
Would you consider it like a Aaron Rodgers-esque type matchup yesterday? Just like throwing the ball around the yard? Yeah.
Except for it's even
I'm going to have
better.
to change my stuff up. It's even better.
Yeah. Talking you into shit, AP. I love it.
No, I mean, right now, like Caleb Williams is the guy that I'm highest on.
No. Well, I take the.
You don't like Caleb? They're not going to be able to run the ball. Is my argument, and he put up a big number.
You played the same thing last week, AP. You played Cousins going into Minnesota. It's not a spot.
I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to change my stuff up.
It's going to be deafening in there. Dude, he's not going to be able to hear anything. Yeah. Caleb's going to get launched by this defense, I think.
Hey, so you don't? There's no chance that Penix Jr. is coming in. Okay, wasn't that your call last week?
If we see Penix,
penis.
Yeah, whatever his name. The Kirk lineups are dead anyway. He was like, I mean, if he throws 3 picks and gets benched, like those lines are going to be in last place anyway. So I don't really think it's worth worrying about for tournaments.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh, sorry.
This is what everybody thinks right now about the Falcons, that they stink. I think they're the same team they always were. They had 3 tough matchups in a row, and they'll be back tonight.
Yeah, Cousins made he made some really good throws against the Vikings. He looked good. Like, it was a close game in that first half. He looked pretty competent outside of like 1 or 2 throws that just completely changed the game, and then they got boat raced. And it's good leverage off of Bijan Robinson too, even though Bijan might be like a lock.
I'm playing plenty of Bijan. I mean, I'll play them together.
Yeah,
it's a 2-game.
There's no other running backs. Yeah, there's no other running backs.
Yeah.
No, I like that call. I like that call a lot. Any other questions? We got about 8 minutes. You playing any Ritter?
No.
Yeah, I it's the quarterback I'm fading too.
I'm pretty much playing Cousins and Darnold.
Yeah. I think I have 100% of Aaron Jones. So Patrick Williams is starting. Do you think he can get full run? He's not a guy that they give heavy minutes to often.
Patrick Williams?
He played 13 this last game. He was out for a lot. Like, I think
he's like, isn't he pretty much? Yeah, he's
maybe 25. Like, I don't know.
I'm not gonna play him.
He's 4,200. If he got 30 minutes, he would be a great play. But I think what they do is they bring in Bucelis and THT, and then obviously Jalen Smith getting those runs. Like, the other thing about Patrick Williams was sometimes when he was coming off the bench, I liked him better because you saw a better usage rate coming off when he was coming off the bench. You're not going to get that, but it's not the worst matchup in the world for him.
I could swap Mogbo out for him.
I want to see.
I'm sticking with
Mogbo. No. Don't play. I wouldn't play Mogbo, I wouldn't play him over Mogbo.
I have 2 shares of Mogbo, so I could switch 1 to Williams just to give myself a little. As always, my 3 lineups usually look like exactly the same, like 2 1v1s or 2v2s.
Yeah, if I rerun this, how much? Still not getting a ton. Where's
Player props. I think I have a NBA SGP boost, which I will build for a Raptors Bulls shootout. So I like to do like an RJ Barrett over assists with the Grady Dick over 3-point shots, and then the Bulls guys coming back. Yeah, but nothing specific for me. Beasley,
I bumped him up a little bit. The game's just too good. I can't bet. Like, if he's the guy that nukes and I don't have any shares in a game that I'm like way over, I would be upset with myself.
Yeah,
so
I get that.
Got like 10%.
Beasley or Grady Dick?
Dick.
I also choose Dick.
Well, I mean, Dick starts.
Yeah.
Got to be careful.
Bridges or Gordon?
Gordon. Where are you at on that? I think it's close.
Straight up, I would take Bridges. Yeah. I like them both, though. I think they're both good plays. These are all good questions, and questions that I'm coming down to the wire here too. Kobe or Io. I personally don't really have a strong preference there. Again, you do get a little bit of a discount. Oh, yeah, okay. So you have more Kobe. Makes sense.
All right, 73% RJ Barrett. What could go wrong?
The other 27% of your lineups is what's going to go wrong.
Poor
Foles.
You're not wrong.
Left behind.
You're not wrong with that. Yeah, ton of Kobe White. Great matchup for Kobe White.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's not like, Davion Mitchell, good, decent defender, but it's not like he's having the best of years. What our boy Steve Boyden used to call him? Off night? Isn't that his nickname?
Who?
Davion Mitchell. They would call him off night.
He's a scrub, man. I don't like playing him.
Back in college.
Yeah.
Drum or Aaron Gordon?
Gordon for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Bam or Paul George? Paul George for me. Yeah, Paul George for me.
Yeah, I don't have either of those guys, but I would go Paul George.
Any Ricky Council? None for me.
No.
Yeah, 40 feet. Yeah, he was excellent against Indy, but if Ricky Council the fourth beats me, I'll move on.
I would have to get to more than the 216 lineups you're playing to get some Ricky Council. It'd have to be more than that.
If Haywood Highsmith goes for 40, then I'm on to NFL tonight. I'll tell you.
Now we're just getting silly in here. Haywood Highsmith for 40. Come on now, Fly Eagles.
He's just a lower, he's a lower usage, lower point per minute guy. Malik Monk, Beasley, or Ayo, Aaron Gordon? That's a good question. I slightly lean one. It's a good 2v2.
Go with your gut, Kenny Brown, on that one. Whatever you think, man.
Here's a good one. I have it Malik Beasley because I think his chance of playing 30 minutes is a lot greater than KPJ. But what's your thoughts?
I like both those plays. I do slightly lean Beasley.
Yeah, Matt. No Jared McKay. Like that is a good point. I get it. It's not a game I personally am too high on. I like the studs, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George. I think the value pieces I want to target in better paced games.
I'll say this. I did not really look into Ricky Council, so it is at least possible that I missed something.
Yeah. Like for 200 more or for 400 more, you can get Malik Beasley. There's a lot of plays in that range. Again, he'll be very low owned. Like I think Jacoby Walter is in that range. He's 4,400. I think he's a fine play. Bucelis is 3,800, so he's cheaper. I want to attack that game with a 240 total over the game with a 218 total. But I get the reasoning 100%, Matt. I definitely get it. All right. We're about at lock. Who's your play of the night? And then we'll get out of here.
Oh, come on. You know this one, Mr. RJ Barrett.
RJ Barrett.
For both of us.
I got to go Malik Beasley. since I bumped him up so hard. It's either him or Kobe White.
I played Barrett, Grady Dick, and Jakob Poeltl on all my lineups tonight. All 4 of them. 3 on DK and 1 on FanDuel.
All right, very good. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We appreciate it a lot. For DC, I'm AP. Good luck tonight in your contest. And as always, run Pier.